Do you know what the definition of religion is in the Oxford Dictionary? An action or conduct indicating belief, obedience, and perseverance for a god, gods, or similar superhuman power. You just mentioned spirituality, that I look for nature, I look towards the sun, and I look whatever. And through spirituality, you're actually trying to seek in a higher power. And that in itself is a sort of religion. Actually, spirituality and religion have been interconnected since its inception.
So the word female and the word male are two different words, but the word male is in the word female. It doesn't mean that we're the same thing. So spirituality is very different from religion. In religion, in almost all modern religions, if you break the rules, you go to hell. If I was born into Christianity and you were born into, Judaism or Islam, one of us is going to hell. And so I just don't feel like that's something realistic. I feel like people made up all of these different things and they're like, this is mine is the best, and if you don't like it, you're going to hell.
Religion versus spirituality, connected but not the same. A lot of my religious people, they're about to click off this video because the thing about challenging people's belief systems is that they get offended. Whenever you ask questions, it's always an offense. It's like, I don't mean an offense, I'm just questioning things. I was once a hardcore Christian. My mom was a Pentecostal and my grandma was a 7-day Adventist. So I had to go to church on Saturday and Sunday. I had Jesus on the weekend. Part of this group called the Pathfinders, where we were like Boy Scouts for Jesus. They had us memorizing a lot of the Old Testament and New Testament and all that stuff. So I have the Bible memorized like the back of my hand, like I know this book. So I was really religious when I came to life, but there were a lot of inconsistencies when it came to the church. Like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not have any graven images. And I'm looking in a church and I'm seeing a wooden cross with Jesus just splayed out and I'm like, isn't that a graven image? What are we doing here? When I was 14, all I was going to was the 7-day Adventists on Saturdays now. But there was something that was in me that just couldn't stop questioning if what I believe was actually true. I looked up my religion, 7-day Adventists, and I found out that we believe in a prophet called Ellen G. White, which is new to me. I thought that we were just following the Bible only. I didn't know that we had another prophet. So I found out that she was a follower of William Miller, the founder of 7-day Adventism. But what happened with him was he made predictions that the world was going to end and the rapture was coming. And when it didn't happen, the people of the 7-day Adventists, they were like, okay, well, this is fake. And that's when Ellen G stepped up and was like, wait, I have some visions. God is communicating with me. And they just accepted all of her premonitions as God given. But she also made predictions that didn't come true. She said that the Catholic Church was going to take over the government and was going to force everyone to worship on Sundays. 7-day Adventists were going to be prosecuted, and in those times, Jesus would come back and save us. Deuteronomy 18 verse 22. When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Now I'm just questioning the 7-day Adventists, like, are we just following a false prophet? This is when I started going through a little existential crisis, because then I started questioning the Bible, but I didn't want to go down that thought pattern because I thought it was blasphemy and I'm gonna go to hell and oh my God, it's over for me. I'm not the type to stay with anxiety. I like to lean into my fears to conquer them, like putting your hands up in a roller coaster. So I asked myself, what am I afraid of? I was afraid of my worldview just falling apart. I started looking up debates and arguments of the other side, what people think about my beliefs. I was searching up theist versus atheist arguments, and I'm looking at the non-believers and I'm like, oh, they're making more sense. I don't agree with atheism because I think atheism is a religion in and of itself. It's a belief in non-belief. I'm listening to different perspectives now, right? And I started to listen to some Muslims, and before I had a prejudice. I just was like, okay, these people, they worship a false prophet. They blow things up. And, I had this whole preconceived notion in my mind about Muslims. But now I come to have a deep respect for Muslims because of their dedication to their faith. In the Christian church, the Bible says no graven images. There's graven images. In Islam, the Quran says no graven images. you go to jail, or worse happens to you if you draw a picture of Muhammad, peace be upon him. Muslims believe that Jesus is a messenger of God and not the Almighty himself. They say that Christians worship the messenger instead of hearing the message. Although the Islamic faith made way more sense than Christianity, I just couldn't trade my religion for another one. It just made no sense. It's just switching sides. I don't want to pick sides on who's wrong and who's right.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
I want to obtain absolute truth of what is reality, what is true. So I kept studying and researching and looking into different topics. Now that I'm no longer demonizing other people's beliefs and way of thinking, I can now learn more about the world that I'm in. That's when I came across Zen Buddhism, which is the refined version of Hinduism. I was always like, yo, this is a false idol. This is gonna lead people to hell. This is demonic. Buddhism, they say that we're all Buddha, and it's within us to realize this truth for ourselves. Jesus was considered a Buddha because he was leading people to the path of enlightenment. I actually have one of the Apocrypha texts here, and this is the Lost Gospel of Thomas. Don't mind the paper, I just printed it on it. One of the books that was omitted from the Bible. The translation by Thomas, one of Jesus's disciples, who was with Jesus in Egypt. Jesus said, if those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourself, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourself, you will dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. We all have divinity within us, but we fail to see it because we're caught up in a fast-paced lifestyle. Zen Buddhism teaches that the journey to try and be happy causes suffering. Happiness is just a fleeting emotion. It comes and goes. Everything is temporary. All of these things are motions. That's why it's called emotion. Energy motion. It's gonna come and it's gonna go. And each time you're chasing after it, you're depleting yourself. Stillness of the mind creates a peace of mind. Instead of looking outward and constantly chasing things of this world that we think will make us whole, Zen Buddhism teaches that all you need is really within you. Even Jesus said it, when you come to know yourself, you come to know the kingdom of the Father within. The source of life, the spark of creation, this thing that animates these meat suits. We take it for granted because we just get caught up in this illusion of life. Spirituality, or my spiritual journey, has helped me see through all of these illusions so I can focus on what truly matters in the end. It's not what religion you believe in. It's not what group of people you belong to. It's not what side of the planet you were born on. You can't take none of this with you. I can't take nothing with me. All of these materials, I can't take with me. All the accumulation that I've done in this life, I can't take it with me. Nothing. So what truly matters in the end? It is the condition of your soul. Through life, we go through trials and tribulations to test our character. It either builds our character or it debilitates our character. I think the way how you treat people and the way how you treat yourself will have a large account in the end. Were you a kind person? Did you take more than you give? It's really just simple things. It's not that hard to be a good person. On one hand, religion is being told what to believe. On the other hand, spirituality is thinking for yourself. Christianity is like a book club that doesn't read the book that they talk about. Now, I think that the Bible is still a holy text. I'm not dissing this. I just think that it's been greatly altered. A Roman emperor declared all books of the Christian faith be burned. King James Version and all of the versions that exist today didn't exist back then. There was only a couple of texts, and those books, only a few people could read them. Roman Catholics had a monopoly over the information. None of that got altered during that time of ruling over people. None of that got altered. Okay. Study psychology as well, and I know that people in power will only let you know enough so that you can serve them, but they're not going to let you know enough where you don't need them no more. Of course, there's missing parts of the Bible, like the book of Enoch and the Gospel of Thomas. There's a lot of information that has been changed for our perception to keep us in a state of darkness. As a spiritual person, religious people always ask, do you believe in God? And I say, no, I know God. I know that God exists because if not, nothing would be here right now. None of this would be happening if God didn't exist. In quantum physics, they made a mind-blowing discovery. They ran a study called the double slit experiment.
When a laser emits beams of light particles called photons at a screen with two slits, you'd expect to see two strips to correspond with the two slits. Instead, we see a pattern of light and dark bands. This suggests that light behaves like waves that pass through both slits simultaneously, interfering with each other to create the pattern on the second screen. However, when scientists used a measuring device to observe the slit that each photon passed through, the interference pattern disappeared, and two strips appeared. The act of observing which slit it went through changed the behavior of the photons. No one knows why observing a particle causes its behavior to change.
The act of observation changed the way that photons condensed into reality. I want you to understand how mind-blowing that is. Let's use GTA, the video game, for example. Say that you're in a game session by yourself and you're in downtown Los Santos. There is a certain radius around the character that generates the world around him. Cars driving, people walking, planes flying. It's all only because the player is there to observe it happening. Back in Sandy Shores, a place that isn't occupied by a player, the map isn't loaded. There's no one there to observe that space.
Whoa, this place is a lot more nude than I expected.
Fry, you dope! You never went in there, so you can't remember it.
What if God created an experience that was so profound that it even amazed him? Because I always wondered this question, why would God create anything? Why would a perfect being create imperfection, being that we are in this life and we're considered as sinners? Why would anything exist? Why would God even start anything? Because he's omnipotent. He knows the future, the past, the present. But then I ask myself the question, because as above, so below, right? Why do I do anything? To gain an experience or to have an experience. I'll play the game to have an experience. I'll drive my car to have an experience. I'll talk to some girls to have an experience. We do things to obtain an experience. So then I started thinking, what if this is all one big experience for God? We are all the figments of God's imagination. I'm not saying that individually I am God. I'm not saying that. For example, Stan Lee, the comic book creator for Marvel, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, all of those people aren't Stan Lee, but they are a figment of Stan Lee's imagination. They're a part of Stan Lee. That we are the figments of God's imagination, and this is one big experience that is being had for God to take in. Answer me this riddle. If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? Before you answer that question, let's understand what sound is. In psychoacoustics, the study of how humans perceive sound, vibration of air particles creates air waves that travels through space. If your ears were close by when the tree fell, your cochlea, which is that swirly thing in your ear, not your other cochlea. That snail thing, it picks up the waves through vibration and converts physical energy into electrical impulses, which is then sent to the brain, where your brain interprets it as sound. So does a tree make a sound if no one is around to hear it? No, because there's no one around to interpret the experience of sound. I think, therefore I am. The fact that there's even anything happening is a miracle. Life is a miracle. A lot of people take what they have for granted and are ungrateful in their lives, where they constantly complain and they're always blaming another person for their own misfortune, but never seeking change within. The religious paradigm keeps us mentally enslaved through fear. Fear that your soul will be damned for not believing in the right faith. In the end, I don't think that your belief system or your race or what side of the planet you were born on really matters in the end. I think that the condition of your soul matters, how you treat people and how you treat yourself. Because you could go to church all you want, but if there's something inside of you that's wicked, listen, man, I don't care what you think as long as you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching. I appreciate it.